This project is a reconstruction of Google's front-end design, where we design 3 pages that correlate to a specific URL of Google, and then we pass in the parameters that we get from the forms to Google's own URL to get the search result through Google. And the point of this task is that it teaches us a lot of design, HTML and CSS design, right? When we try to reconstruct Google's design, and also understanding forms, their actions, and how does URL and its parameters work, and how Google handles them. So we have the regular search bar, which we're looking at right now, the image search, and the advanced search. And so first, let's start by looking at the actual design that we're imitating here. So let's forget about the logo for one sec and look at the text field. So we see here at the left is this small search icon, and then when we hover over the text field, we get this little gray shadow effect. And on the right is the mic icon. When we hover over the mic, we get the search by voice, and we can click it to actually search by voice. So we have the small toggle that says search by voice. And then the buttons, when you hover over the buttons, you get also a similar but simpler outline shadow effect, which is, by the way, not part of the light button offered by Bootstrap, so I had to reconstruct that on my own. So yeah, jumping back to the search page here, we see we have the same icon. When we hover over the text field, we get a similar shadow effect. Likewise, when we hover over the button, we get a similar toggle, and we can click on the mic, which does nothing, but later down the line we can add this functionality. Likewise, hovering over those buttons just re-imitates the buttons we just saw at Google's. And now let's show the functionality of the search, right? Because ideally, when I type in any text query here, like say my name, I can run it through Google search, and I should get the search results. So the first is a Wikipedia page about my name, and a couple of other results. And what's interesting here is that since Chrome knows the parameter or the value, not the value, pardon, but the name of this text field, and so it remembers the kind of things that you type into this kind of field. And next, let's take a look at this I'm feeling lucky button with the same query. Now, if you're not familiar with the I'm feeling lucky button, all it does is once you click it, it takes you to the first URL that Google matches. And the idea here is if you're feeling confident or a little bit lucky that the first URL is indeed the one you're looking for. So if we click it, we get a redirect notice, but we see here that the URL is indeed of the Wikipedia page that was the top result for the name Yahya Saleh, and indeed we get taken there. So that was the Google search and the I'm feeling lucky buttons. Next, let's actually take a look at the image search. Its design is almost identical to Google search, and when you type here any query, like let's say dogs, we hit search, you see we get a bunch of dog images through Google. And then last of which, let's take a look at the advanced search. So what the advanced search mimics is Google's own advanced search, which has a couple of parameters, but the ones we're interested in are those 4. And you can see, as we'll later show, we can actually do this in the search box itself. But yeah, none of those parameters are actually required, but they help narrow down the search. So if I want to search for my name again, let's say that my query is Yahya Sharif Saleh, right? And then any of those words, let's say that the words that I would type here is the different ways that people type my name. So Yahya and Yahya. And then none of those words, let's just say that we don't want, I don't know, the word Muhammad to pop up for whatever reason. And if we hit advanced search, indeed we get taken to the page matching this advanced search. And oh, interesting. Anyhow, but in the search bar, we see how we can do this through the search box as defined here by those instructions. So we see that our search query gets typed in as normal, and then our OR class, where we say we want this or that, is separated by a capital OR, and then words that we don't want to appear have this minus sign before them. But yeah, that was pretty much it. We just showcased 3 pages that all imitate Google's own front-end design and takes their parameters or values and sends them to Google, getting the results. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.